Good morning, guys. Tyler Ryan here in the ABC Columbia Weather Center. Update you here this morning on this Monday on Hurricane Irma as she continues to track towards the north. Right now here in Columbia in the Midlands, temperatures in the low 60s across the board on this early Monday morning. 60 in Saluda, 63 in Camden, 64 uptown here as we roll through. Wind right now starting to pick up. We can really definitely feel the wind. 12 miles an hour in Lexington, 14 gusting in Saluda, 16 in Orangeburg, already 20 miles per hour gusts in Springfield, 9 in Columbia, but we are going to continue to have that very stormy day today. Focus late into the afternoon and evening. A lot of the effects of what we're going to feel off this now Category 1 hurricane, as downgraded this morning, is going to be later on. Heavy rain, totals of rain 3 to 6 inches, some flash flooding in the usual suspects in places we normally see it, but really that wind is going to be the issue, guys. Damaging wind, gusts of up to 60 miles per hour, so expect some downed trees. Power outages, please be careful as the day goes on here. Like I said, this morning it's not going to be quite as bad. Definitely a windy, rainy morning, but nothing like this afternoon. Possible tornadoes as well, very short-lived, and those will track as they happen. There's really no way to predict exactly a tornado. They can pop up with the current conditions as they go. So John Farley and I will be on top of that for you as well. Right now, hurricane warnings and watches that are going out. These are all the areas now, even for some tornado watches and warnings as well. You can see there's a very likely possibility a few will pop off as this thing continues up the way. Now here's a Doppler radar from this morning, guys. You can see we're already getting some of that rain this morning when I was coming into work. Just starting to see some of the rain in Lexington about 1 o'clock this morning. But you can see that's going to continue to track in as we go through this day. This humongous storm, yeah, being downgraded, but it is still a great big storm. You can see 500 miles from Columbia to Tampa. Of course, Tampa is really catching a lot of the news. That's where it's really been hammering hard as it tracked its way up the coast after having struck the mainland, and it continues to shift towards the west. So Tampa is still going to be right there in the line of fire, and even though the eye of the storm has moved on, still looking at a lot of wind, a lot of rain as it now continues up the middle of the state of Florida. Let's go ahead and put this into motion now. 3 o'clock this morning. Sure, she's been downgraded to a Category 1. Continues tracking towards the north and northwest, up through Tallahassee, Montgomery, Alabama, up through Birmingham. But you can see over here, guys, what's happening with us. We're going to catch a lot of that wind. Remember, we talked last week about the worst place to be in a hurricane is going to be on the right side, the eastern side of that hurricane, and especially at that maybe say 2 o'clock mark, if you think of a clock. And that's because that wind is going to come and start whipping in and pulling around, and that's where we're going to get the wind we're going to experience today. That's where that's going to come from as we go. We also have the associated rain, and again, not as much rain as we thought maybe last week. Had it shifted and continued to track towards the east, the fact that it's tracking towards the west a little reduces our rain, increases the wind and the possibilities for other causes of nature. But you can see somewhere between 4 and 8 inches of rain potentially. It will cause that flooding as we go through the day today. You have to watch out for flash flooding, and that'll be more or less later on this afternoon into the evening as the storm passes through our area. 4.8 inches of rain in Columbia, 5 in Lexington, maybe a little less in Newberry and Winsboro, but again, these are just guesstimations based on the current path. Here's some of the gusts. Now, this is where we're going to start seeing this wind really pick up. Again, early this morning, very windy out there, but by 8 o'clock, we're talking about some pretty good winds. This thing comes up and it swirls around. You might remember from that graphic. Okay, so 8 o'clock this morning, winds nearing 30 miles an hour in Lexington and in Columbia. As we get through the day, we're going to continue to pick up. By 2 o'clock, 46 miles per hour, 43 in Lex, 43 in Manning. And take a look at Springfield, guys. 63 miles per hour this afternoon in Springfield. To go through the day, we're going to continue some pretty high winds. By the time we get to tonight and start working on the overnight, we'll start seeing some winds begin to slow down a little bit, although really that's all relative too. 19 miles an hour in Lexington, 41. But then we start easing up. As we start to get on the other side of the storm, we're going to start easing up in the winds. By tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., you can see now we've changed directions, and we're looking at 11 miles per hour, 14 miles per hour versus the 40, 50, potentially 60. And by tomorrow night, by 6 p.m., yeah, we'll still have some effects of the storm, but much more reasonable winds coming through, and we'll be through. All right, so here's our futurecast real quick, guys, so you can take a look at this as we go through the day today. 5 o'clock is really going to be where we start seeing rain. We have rain all day. It'll be on and off. There'll be times when it slows down. But then we really, about 5 o'clock with that wind we just saw a few minutes ago, really pushing in. A lot of that rain surge is going to be right in here. So as you go through the overnight, even by 10 o'clock tonight, still a lot of rain coming through. We do go through the overnight with more rain on and off again. It may dry off for a bit, but we're by no means done until about tomorrow morning. We'll start seeing the rain subside. The wind is not over, as we saw with the wind estimations. All right, so here's how it tracks right now. She is 85 miles per hour, a Category 1 having been downgraded early this morning. So this is the track right now, and currently where it's going to go, 8 o'clock, 8 p.m., going to be up to Montgomery, easing on up as she continues to track towards the west. And again, we're outside of that cone, but as you can see and feel, we're not outside the effects of this amazingly huge storm. Here's the stuff, guys, all right? 72 today, 82 by tomorrow. The wind, the rain we saw. Wednesday is pretty much over. We're done. By Wednesday, we're going to start clearing out, start assessing damage, and of course, Florida, the Caribbean, going to be assessing and taking care of damage for months and months to come, just like our friends down in Texas. But by Wednesday, the good news is back through the 80s and sunny skies as we ease on into a week from today. Guys, of course, we're going to keep you updated here online at abccolumbia.com. Make sure you follow us on all the social medias, as well as live on ABC Columbia TV.